Hi, I'm gonna try and get the recording started. Doesn't look like, oh, I have 3 people live with me already. Hello, let me see if I can get this full screen. There we go. Hi, Dana. Let me turn the reverberation down. I kind of hear myself. There you are. Okay. And the cards are in the center of the screen. So I think we are super ready to get started. Just give everybody a few minutes. And so everyone knows, I'm home alone here at the house except for the dogs. So if anyone comes to the door, they go absolutely crazy. And I live in a small enough house where there's no avoiding the noise. So I just want to make sure everybody knows. I was excited today because I watched a video. Milo. See, I told you. I watched a video on another YouTube page, and she was using embossing folders 3 different ways, which I thought was really cool. But I have new embossing folders that I've never used before. So I wanted to do it and see, number one, if I could create my own background with it. That would be great. This one is a Sizzix. I'll show you. It says Sizzix, and then it says Allison. I think it's called Hearts. And what's really interesting about it is most embossing folders have the bumped up side and the debossed side. This one has another effect to it where I'm going to see if I can get the camera close enough. It has the bumped up section, but on top of the bumped up section, let me see. Unfortunately, the video is delayed just a little bit, so I can't really tell. Hi, Maria. But it has little swirls on top of the already bumped up section, so that's what they're calling 3-dimensional. And I thought it's very interesting. And I wanted to try it and see how it looked. I don't know if any of you have seen the post that I put on today. My blog has the current cards, and I was really, really happy with the way that they turned out. So I'm glad I'm sharing this with you guys tonight, because if you don't have to use 3D embossing folders. I'm sure that all 3 of the different ways of using it is going to work on a regular one as well. So don't worry about that. And I know for a fact that Miss Kelly carries Sizzix. She does not have this one currently in the store. We might have to talk her into getting some 3Ds. I think that would be really fun to work with. Creating your own background is always fun. Maya, sorry. So I'm going to get started with what my project is supposed to be today. So, Milo. This is the first project that I made. I'm using some different products that I haven't used before, and I'll go over all of those just until we get maybe a few more people. Hi, Angela, online with us. Now, I know that Alta New is a stamp company that she's carrying in the store. I don't know the 7 Kids Craft Store. I don't know if Kelly has these particular ones, but this is one of my favorite sentiments ever. There's something about it in that it's larger down at the bottom, and it says be kind, But when you read the entire thing, in a world where you can be anything, be kind. I think that could go on almost any card. It's just one of my very favorite cards, and it is called Be Kind. This is the Alta New Best Sentiments. It has thank you, thanks for you, thankful for you, you are the best. And we're going to use today sending love and hugs on a project. I did not use either of those, but let's talk about the Sugar Pea Love Machine stamp set. Isn't it darling? It's just darling. It has girls, it has boys, it has puppies, it has sayings, it has everything you could possibly want to make a Valentine card or a wedding card or a You're My Special Peeps card. And I think Kelly carries these. I don't know if she's sold out of them or not, but they are in the store, and I fell in love with them. I had to have them, and I thought this would be perfect because it's so little coloring. And it did turn out really well for the project. Then on one of the cards, I wanted to use for the very first time my Lawn Fawn. It's a gift card holding die. You put it on the inside of your card. It's scored, so you fold it over and insert it into the center of the card. I don't think it's this one. It is this project that has the card. I don't know if you can see that yet because, like I said, it is delayed. But you just put your little gift card right in the slot. And now I stamped a little doggy on here, but all I did was use a Jelly Roll pen and colored him in silver. And I used Gear Up for some fun on your birthday sentiment. I think that's in, yes, that is in this stamp set down here. So I did get to use that. This is one of the big word sentiments that I love from Alta New. And I used Live in the Moment, I believe, in one of the cards. Let's see, not that one. Definitely not that guy. Oh, I used I love you. Here it is. I love you more than words can explain, and it's right here. So I used that on that one. It says thanks a lot. Anybody that you need to thank or appreciate. I think that that's great sentiment for that purpose. And I used my bow die. I made this, I designed this years ago for another company that I used to work with, and I put it, he kind of looked like a boy. I'm not sure if he's supposed to be always a boy, but I made him into a girl because the card turned out to be just so pink that it needed to be a girl. So I did that. And what else did I use? Oh, this is a part of another set, and I had a question. Hi, Maureen. Glad you could join us. I had a question for any die people that might have a collection of dies. Do you have labeled dies that you use, and do you use them only for sentiments, or have you ever tried to, for example, this robot seemed to be the perfect size for this die, and it turned into the centerpiece of the card, which I thought was really interesting. I am going to be coming out with some more dies for my store that I want to design, and these are older ones that I've done already, a little bit too fancy for what people are using right now. But I want to know, do you have them? Does anyone have sentiment frames that you use, and do you use them only for sentiment? Maybe if somebody could answer that, I'll ask again a little bit later. I know I'm a little bit early, but we have gone through the products that we've used. Got that out of the way. I want to show you all of the products in their finished condition. I have a few tips and tricks about popping these up on a foam. I bought some new double-sided, it's Couture Creations, and it's double-sided tape roll. This thing is huge, but what I liked best about it was it's exactly the right size for a 5 1/4. Your whole little pan, or right under the 5 1/4, your whole panel will go on there, and I'm going to show you how I did that in the video as well. So here's the first card. All I've done was created the panel, which we're going to do today together, and then I framed it. I matted that, and I put a little bit of ribbon. I used 2 different ribbons for this particular card project. I used the pink on the bottom and then a gingham black. I think I'm out of the gingham black. I might very well be. But just doubled it, which was really fun, and then just popped this up with Thanks a Bot on it. And I think I showed you on the inside, this one says I love you, more than words can explain. And we're not going to make all 3 of the cards today because it's going to require a little bit too much time, I think. But you can see how simple. I really didn't even color the whole thing in. I used a little bit of Distress ink, Stormy Sky, on the background of the label after I stamped it, and colored with Copics. I used C0, C1, and C3, and then this is R20 and R30. And I also have a few sequins on each individual product, but like I showed you before, this is the guy that opens up with the gift card, and it's for the birthday. And then the third one, I thought, well, how quick and easy would it be to put together a sentiment-only card with your own background on it? Looks like you spent a lot of time on it, but in reality, all you did was throw a little bit of ink on the embossed paper and you were done. This one I included, which I'm going to do with you today, I included a little banner out of the same paper. And I bumped it up, I'll show you how, with a mat and a roller. And then on the inside of this one, I used an Altenew, sending love and hugs. My heart beeps for you. That's all it is. It could be a Valentine, could be I love you, could be happy anniversary, anything. I love how the coloring turned out. It's a little bit whiter in the center, darker on the edges. Let's see who's in. Hi, Brian. Annalise. Glad to have you with us. Okay, so we're going to get started. Like I said, this project is going to be quick and easy. The inks that we're going to use today are from Spectrum Noir. I have metallic pigment inks. This one is silver, and this one is the blush. So the first thing that we attempt to do when we're using embossing folders is simply simply use the embossing folder itself in a machine, which I have to use the Cuttlebug, and I want to talk to you about why that occurred. I tried to use the Gemini, and because I couldn't get the plates right with this 3D. I know that it's a newer system, the 3D or newer embossing folders, and someone showed me that there's a special plate that you have to buy in order for it to work appropriately, and I know for a fact that I don't have that plate. So I got my trusty old Cuttlebug out and ran it through with plate A, I think it was B. Plate A, my metal cutting plate, and one plate B. That's the sandwich that I used to emboss I'm gonna reset the computer. I'm going to run it through once or twice more. Because I noticed when I did this yesterday, it took more than one swipe through in order for me to get a good enough impression. This Cuttlebug has seen better days. I've had it probably the whole 10 years that I've been crafting. So it is well loved, well used. Now there were other people on. Have I lost everyone? Dana, are you still there? Okay, let's see how that looks. So when this comes out, it's beautiful. It's got so much intricate details on it. I just fell in love with it. We're gonna take, let's do this one silver. No, Milo. You put these plates up. No, Milo. Stop. Come on. Okay. Okay, so the attempt is to make the ink as flat as possible. Let me see if I can share this. Also. Share in a group. Let's try 7. Kids customer create. No, Milo. Okay, it looked like it shared it. Hopefully it got over there. That's fantastic. Share now to my page. Handmade by TLC. I'm live. Post it there. Perfect. So I'm sorry, we're going to grab a little bit of the ink. I'm going to hold it as flat as I can, and I'm going to hold the other side. We're just going to see if I can get more light over here too. Okay. Actually, the darkness is over there. No, Milo. He's not going to stop. I should have closed the door. We're just going to swipe down as flat as we can. I'm going to turn it over. Now this is a messy job, but it looks so good when it's done. There we go. Let me get, if you're not happy with it, just keep it flat as you can and swipe it. Okay. Put that ink lid back on that one. Now let's show you what it looks like up close. Look at all of that glittery shine. It picks up everything that's bumped upward twice. Even the 3D comes in silver. The tiniest little lines, they all showed up. Look at how beautiful. Let's see if I'm holding it too close as I watch. Let me just go back and forth, left and right. Isn't that beautiful? So this is the first example of a way to, you want to get as much out of your products that you purchase with your hard-earned money as you can, and this is a really good way. So this is the silver. product with it just being done first. Now this is where it gets inky and messy. Get your gloves out, ladies. Hi, Dana. Oh, good. I'm just glad you're still here. Isn't it a pretty embossing folder? I like it too. Hi, Donna. Okay, so in this one, I'm going to apply the ink directly to the embossing folder and then put the paper in and run it through. And it does a completely different color pattern. So I'm going to really just coat that. Coat it in there really well. And I know you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, that must be a huge mess. In reality, it was 2 wipies and the whole mess was gone. The messy part comes in on your hands. And I found that if I use some hand sanitizer with alcohol in it, and this one actually has aloe vera, it will evaporate the ink off your hands before you go to touch your sheet of paper that you spent all that time trying to decorate beautifully. Okay. So we're just going to place it down. You don't want to smear it. Close your lid. If I can grab the bottom of it, there you go. I'm going to grab the Cuttlebug again. The sandwich is A, and my metal plate, and then a B. And I put the embossing folder on top of the metal plate because I've learned that the metal plate will actually bend according to the size of your embossing folder, and then you've got a big mess going on your plate. Let's see if I can get this in here. Ow, it bites. There we go. I don't have the machine stabilized down because it does have suction things on the bottom, but I have paper under here. And just like last time, I'm going to run it through 2 or 3 times. Milo, no. Milo. He's the oldest of the 3 dogs I have, and he's the least brave. He's a chicken. So every shadow that's going on outside. So I want you to see. This is a 5 1/4 by 4, or 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. So it's actually the same size as the card already. And then I would cut down 1/8 of an inch off, or 1/4 of an inch off for the matting. And then this would be small enough to get rid of the majority of the leftover white that didn't come out at the top. Obviously, I didn't put ink up there, or it didn't run through the machine far enough. But you can see the difference. It's the same plate, embossing plate, but it's, number one, the design is backwards. You can see it would match perfectly here because here's this big heart and here's the big heart. But I use this side, and on this one it's pushed down in. You can see the in the ink part, and it's exactly opposite. So the heart isn't completely colored and then have more roses on top. It's white on the inside. That's what the difference is when you ink up one end or the other of the embossing folder. Now I'm going to leave that ink on there because it isn't going to matter whether or not it's on the other side, and I don't want to take the time to try and clean all that off. But let's do the same thing with the other side of the embossing folder. Am I in the camera, I hope? well covered. Oops, where's the lid? Here it is. And our last but not least, paper. Our machine back out. Like I said, I have a Gemini, and I tried to run it through it, and it, I don't know, tried to kill my Gemini. And I'm going to show you what else it did once I get finished here. What else it did to my actual embossing folder, which I got kind of upset thinking, oh my gosh, I wasted all that money and didn't appropriately learn how or what plates or sandwich it needed for the 3D embossing folders, which it is pretty new to the product lines, but like I said, I'm going to do a little bit more investigating on YouTube. And see what plates I should have. I don't know if Gemini has one that's specifically for the 3D. I know probably Sizzix. I probably should go and look and take a peek at what Sizzix actually has for you to use with your 3D embossing folders. All right. So this one, this is actually my favorite one, because the first one had silver and then darker silver because it was filled in the 3D with running across it. The second one, again, the design is of course on the back side of it. You can see this heart here, but when it fills it in, this one is mostly white and the ink goes downward into the debossing. This one, the ink is in the debossed section, leaving the embossed portion of it white. And you can see, you know, it has an entirely different feel, I think. This one is more white with pink accents and or whatever color that is, blush. And this one is more blush with a few white accents. And this is your normal, everyday, just embossing a piece of paper. For the Gemini, you just use the 2 plastic plates and in the embossing folder. Yeah, I tried that. Maybe my Gemini needs to be replaced. It could very well be. But no, I appreciate that, Dana. You like this one? This third one? Yeah, I like this one a lot too. It's very blushy looking. It looks, I bet Kelly would love this. It's a lot of Victorian feel on it. And I love these metallic inks. I don't think Kelly carries these either, but maybe we could talk her into getting some metallic inks. I'll have to check with her. It's just absolutely wonderful. So here's what happened. As I tried to put it through my Gemini like 5 different ways, I tried everything I could. Let me clean this up real quick. It ended up, how do I explain what it did? So this is like a Beware Crafters with the 3D folders. This is my first time I've ever used one. I have 2 or 3 of them, but I just haven't had an opportunity to use them yet. As you can see, it cleans up pretty easy. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. I will go in with soapy water maybe afterward. Just make sure the next time I try and run it the way it's supposed to be, just on white paper, I don't end up with any of that excess ink. There's like little slots that you really want to get it the ink out of there. Okay, so anyway, what happened was, and I think you can probably see it, it began to slide this side through the Gemini and fold it up. It was literally displacing the match portion of the hearts. And you can see the stress that it put on this embossing folder. I had to get tools out and push it back in and flatten this so that the hearts would match up again, so that my embossing folder wasn't ruined, basically. But that's, I think the Gemini tried to eat it, or it just didn't, I didn't have the right plates, or maybe it's too old, I'm not sure. Did you flip your Gemini plates? Yes, actually I flipped them twice. I always put a piece of tape on the side that has been up last, and then I switch the tape over so that I remember to do that every time. But I want to just share that with you. This is a crafter beware. This will slide if you try and put it through with the wrong plates or misuse the embossing folder in any way. And then hopefully, you know, you won't repeat what I did. There was an extra piece of paper that I loved. Actually, what I did was, and I can do it again, I took one of these, and instead of just leaving it the blush color, I added a silver hue. Because I knew I was doing robots, so knowing that there was going to be a little bit of metal in the coloring, hi Donna, there was going to be a little bit of metal in the actual coloring of the robots anyway, so I wanted to add it. Now obviously I smudged and went too fast there, but you can see how it just makes it look a little bit more vintagey, a little bit softer and a little bit more metallic. So I decided to do that on this one. I mixed the silver with the pink blush, and then I used one of my favorite sentiments from Alta New. The dogs are now playing. I have 2 puppies, so you're going to hear the pitter patter of their paws. And just made like a place card. I thought it was cute. This one has this ribbon on it, and I want to show you what I did. I have a mat, a roller mat. This is for like when you make flowers. And I knew that the heart was going to be this way, so on the other side of it, all I did was use a little bit of pressure on the back of it. Until I was happy with the look. And you can see the bump. The video has to catch up so that I can make sure that you're actually seeing what I'm seeing or what I want you to see. I love this shimmer cardstock too. This is, I think it's tonic. There you go. You can see it a little bit. Good. Okay. Sorry I got lost there. So what did I do? I used the little frame, I used one of the sentiments, a little bit of sequins, and pretty much matted the card. Now I learned a trick. I have I think it's Pink Fresh die set, standalone cuts. I don't know. It's diagonal stitched rectangles. It has 4 pieces in it. And I used it because the second largest die is the perfect size to use on my matting. There was a woman that I went to Creativation with that always uses foam underneath her sections that you're going to pop up. And it does really clean up the cards, ladies. I was really impressed with how professional the cards actually look with this underneath it. But so I ran this through the die cutting machine, and maybe I'll just do that real quick. I haven't been on that long. Let's see if I can get my Gemini plates. So it's just basically, it's just the same kind of foam you can buy at the craft store. This one is foam sheet. It's by Darice. I think that's a Michaels brand. I'm not sure. But just run it through the die cutting machine. And it comes out the exact same size that you need to go underneath that plate. You see that? So then all you need to do, let me get rid of all of this. A few more tips and tricks. I'm going to get this big roll of double-sided tape out that I bought because I fell in love with somebody using it, and I hadn't used it yet, but now I'm glad that I've discovered it because it made it so much easier to adhere this to the card, because I was using the tape runner before, and the tape runner doesn't really stick to the foam. Won't be perfect right this time, but then you just do it again. That's it. And for the price of what I paid for that, you're going to get about 4 times what you would if you bought sheets 8.5 by 11 from someplace. I think Simon Says Stamps or somebody sells them. And all you do is peel the sheet off and you're ready to go. Just apply it to your topper, and then apply the topper to the framed section, and you're done. You're good to go. So that was it. All you need after the top pieces of cards. A little bit of a stamped image inside of one of your frames makes this card. I just put one little ribbon on there. This silver is one of those glitter papers. I think it's from Close to Your Heart. I believe I had some older silver paper. Oh, and also keep in mind, when I didn't realize because it's the first time that I ever used it, but this card holder, don't apply it too close to the score line in your card because it makes it super thick, doesn't give it any room, and it doesn't close very well. I really had to use the boner folder and push it down pretty good to get it to stay in there. But I used the same exact method with my die on that foam, and it cut perfectly all the way through. So it just seems like it was manufactured that way, like it's a card that's made professionally. It really adds that little professional feel. So those are the 3 ways that you can make your own background. Is it Dana? I see it. Cool idea. Thanks, Dana. So I circled a number that's on this mat, this mat that's underneath here. Before I started tonight, I circled a number, and let's see, we have 7 people. So let's do a number 1 through 10. All you need to do is just use your cardstock, one of these that are smaller, and then your topper card, and the project's practically done. These are like 5-minute cards unless you do a ton of coloring. 1 through 10, don't go over, and I'm gonna send these cards to whoever wins and gets closest to the number that I've circled. So do we have anyone that's interested in getting the actual cards themselves in the mail? Can't go over. Just the closest to the number that's circled, which is covered so you can't really see it. Okay, Dana, got yours. Do we have anyone else that wants a few little goodies in the mail? It almost feels like Christmas sometimes. I did want to know, Dana, have you ever used a 3D embossing folder? Do you have experience with it yourself? I'd like to try and find out if anyone else had any issues with the 3D folders at all. Or if it's just something, maybe it was a user operator difficulty. Could very well be. I'm more of a give me Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop and I'll make something that you guys can create with than I am the creator. Okay, so we have one person that decided to put a number in. So guess what, Dana? You would be the winner. The number that was circled is a 6. You didn't go over. You're the only player, so that's awesome. I haven't used one, but Crafter's Companion has videos. Ah, okay. I'm gonna have to catch up on the videos then. Susan says that she has to be careful sometimes. They crack her card surface. Oh, I wonder, just the 3D ones do that? I didn't realize that maybe they'll push through too hard. Maybe because I use a cardstock that I fell in love with because of the thickness of it. It's made by Ranger, and a woman named Wendy Vecchi has the perfect cardstock. I don't know what the weight is because it doesn't actually say on the front anyway. I wonder if it says someplace on the back. Hey, be nice. My dogs are going crazy over there. It doesn't say how heavy it is, but it's nice, thick, heavy cardstock. I mean, at least 110 or 120, I would say. So maybe that's why it's able to go through. It's pushing so hard, and the fibers in your cardstock maybe aren't thick enough. I don't know. I will private message you for sure, Dana, and get your address and everything and send these on to you. Ladies, I appreciate, or gentlemen, not always sure who's online with us, but I appreciate you joining me for sure, for certain. Okay. So I am going to, let's see, I think I had one more question. Oh, can you tell me who your favorite die manufacturer is? Are you someone that buys everything from Spellbinders, or do you do the shopping in little stores and find those dies that aren't everywhere, like Simon Says or scrapbook.com, things like that? And if not, that's fine. So we have a few people still online, and I'm going to close the session out tonight, but if you want to come back and leave me a message and let me know, I'd really appreciate it. I kind of looking to get a feel for what people think is common and what they fall in love with, that kind of thing. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I hope you ladies enjoyed it, and I hope you have the good rest of your night. Keep crafting.